All right. Welcome, everybody. Really excited to sit down and talk with Simon Thomas, CEO of DOBI Real Estate. Simon, always great seeing you. Always great talking with you. I know that your world opened up about a week ago, so I've been really looking forward to talking with you and just about what's going on in the real estate world and what you've been seeing just this last week. I mean, there's a lot of a lot of things we can talk about, but let's just start there. What have you been seeing this last week now that the market is reopened?
Well, thank you for having me today. I always love doing these with you, so thank you. The last week has been busy. It's really busy. Just it's a lot of our agents are busy and they're out showing homes, and we're putting it's still a little soon because you got to give time to like show the property, put offers in. So that does take a little bit of time before people start submitting, but we are putting deals under contract right now. All across the board. I was thinking it was going to be a lot of like the $100,000 to $400,000 price points, but we're seeing things in the 600s to $1 million. And we've been averaging, we have just under 50 agents. So we've been averaging, the last 3 to 4 days, right around like 7 to 10 deals a day that we've been putting under contract. Now, whether they close or not, we'll see. Time will tell. But that's what we're seeing. We are seeing a lot of people going out and looking at homes, getting ready to submit an offer, and then they do kind of pull back a little bit.
Yeah.
So like, I think they're just excited to get out of the house and go do something besides sitting at home. So we are seeing a little bit of that. They're pre-approved, they're qualified, but then it's like time to pull the trigger, and they get a little hesitant, which is understandable. I mean, we were the first industry to one of the first to let go, which is great, but we also need everybody else to get back to work so everybody feels comfortable making these purchases. But it is busy. I mean, our agents are out showing houses, putting offers in, and we're seeing deals going under contract, which is great, which will make for a great June and July, hopefully.
That's great. I love that you said it's kind of like a free activity that everybody can get out and maybe do. But I want to talk about, I love hearing that they're busy. I love hearing that they're, in the trenches putting deals under contract. But what's the safety protocol now that we're back?
It's a good question. I mean, some sellers, are just not ready to have people in their homes, which is understandable. 4 people to a property. So mask, gloves, shoe covers, very important. A lot of our agents are stocking. All of our agents, we're telling them to stock up in their trunks and have masks for people if they don't have them. Gloves, follow behind with wipes, wiping door handles. We really, we're telling sellers to make sure every door is open. So when you leave your property, to let us show it, have every door open. Because now we don't have to touch door handles to get into those doors. I mean, you really don't have to touch much if the sellers are prepared for you. The high touch points when we go to leave or when the seller comes home, we're telling them we're going to wipe them down. You wipe them down as well. In the past, a lot of times the selling agent, so the listing agent, didn't have to be at the property. We're telling sellers we'll be there for, we'll sit in our car, and then when it's over, we'll walk through your home and wipe those high touch points for you, the front door and any back door or anything that, the doors weren't open that they had to open to get in, countertops if people touched them. But, just being cautious. But as long as everybody's wearing masks and gloves, and those are, before going into the house, sellers have been pretty comfortable with it. So yeah, but 4 people, don't bring all your kids.
Right.
So be conscious of that. And if you do, then, sit out, one person sit outside with the family, and then the other ones go in, stuff like that.
Is there social distancing even with the 4 people in the house? How is it working?
Yeah, I mean, we have to practice it. I mean, does it happen where we pass each other? Of course. I mean, it happens, right? I mean, are you 6 feet all the time? That's what we're telling everybody. You need to be 6 feet and be as cautious as you possibly can.
Yeah. So that's great to hear. There's safety protocol. Things are active. It's been a week. talk to me a little bit about the next 30, 60 days. What does that look like? Because it seems like there's been this pent up demand. And from what you're saying, it doesn't sound like that's going away.
The 30, 60 days. Yeah. I mean, right now, the next 45 to 60 days is you got to put people under contract. So the people that are willing to submit offers, go look at homes and submit offers, we need to get them under contract. In our business, it takes, it's all different depending on the client, but it takes time to put them to show them homes and then actually write an offer and then negotiate that offer and then put it under contract. So once you put it under contract, it's typically, quick closings. You can close closings, if it's cash deals or you have a lender that's, really aggressive in 21 days, 14 days, which is really, really crazy, but 30 to 45 days is normal. So if it takes us 2 to 3 weeks to start putting people under contract, we're not going to see these closings until, 60 days from now. So what we're telling our agents is, look, it's go time. As long as you're comfortable being out there showing homes, you need to go out and get as many people under contract. And if you were gonna, what we're noticing, and we got on the phone with all of our agents in the last week, just talking to them, seeing what kind of calls they're getting. And if March, we actually had a decent March because we got most of it through there. March, April, May, let's say on average, you were going to put 3 to 4 deals under contract in those 3 or 4 months. Well, April and May, you didn't put anything under May you do, but really end of March and April, you didn't put anything under contract. You should be able to get at least 50% of those deals under contract now. So if you were on track to do 12 or 15 deals in the last 2 months, maybe do 7 or 8 in the next 60 days, because there are people who just don't want to go out or are on unemployment and they can't get approved to their lender yet until they're off unemployment. So now it's about putting as many deals under contract in the next 60 to 90, 60 days. The next thing though, that I am conscious of, and I don't want to make people nervous about this, but it is reality, is we need people to go back to work as long as we can. And it's safe, and because I believe there's going to be this big wave of buyers. And then if people go back to work by the end of the month, maybe by the time that wave's done, we have another wave of people.
Sure.
And then the holidays hit and not many people move during the holiday season. Now, we definitely do deals all year and all different types of situations. But, I think the next 60 days are very, very crucial. And I think as people see people buying, the people who are hesitant are going to see those and say, you know what? I need to get out there. I'm losing opportunities if I don't go out and look at these homes and start buying them. And so the next 60 days is going to tell a lot.
Yeah. It's there's that TED talk where the one person, did you ever see it, where they're dancing at kind of like a Woodstock-ish type thing, and everyone's looking at the person that they're weird. And then the second person starts dancing. And do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And then the whole group just starts dancing. And that always reminds me of a book I read 20-some years ago by Jeffrey Moore, Crossing the Chasm. Have you ever read it? It's a book I'm thinking about. I'm going to reread the book because he shows a graph in it that talk about the pioneers versus the laggards versus the people late to the game. And that's kind of what it seems like we're going through right now too, is people cautiously, get back into the market. I have a question for you on, when you're talking about people don't like to move during the holidays. The schools, what it looks like this fall, it looks like, and nothing's for sure, but that things may be still at home and virtual. Holidays may still not be what they were in the past because of social distancing. Will that change the timeline of when people will move? I know a lot of times people like to move before the school year starts, but the school year may not be normal this year.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you don't have to rush and get in your house by mid-August, and you can now purchase something in September through December, and maybe you're living in another state or another city, but you're still enrolled into those school districts. But the biggest challenge too is, I'm assuming you need to own a home in that school district to go to that school district. So you still have to, I don't know how that works. I have to look into that. It's actually a great question, but if you're planning on moving to that district, you really can't roll your children in that district until they actually have a home in that district. So, for public school purposes. But yeah, I think it could definitely push it out a little bit. For sure. And time will tell. I mean, like we said this in the past, like there's not a playbook for this. Everything you hear is yeah, we can look at data, but it's a very unpredictable thing. And like I'm shocked on how many people are out buying right now, which is great. I knew people were going to come back, but I'm shocked how many people are actually pulling the trigger. So it's really hard, because I've heard things from, oh, it's going to really be bad, and I've heard things that's going to be great. And right now the last 7 days have been great for what's happened in the last 2 months. So it's a lot of opinions, because there's not much data out there for these types of situations.
Right.
So it's really just being ready for anything that comes. Like when we have our finance meetings, it's like, we're talking about things like we're planning for growth, and we're planning for, like, if this market really, does get hit, we really, we really don't know. And I really do think this, I've said this in the last podcast we have, I'm excited for these times because they do create opportunity. I mean, any great company has really, taken major, market shifts like this, or challenges like this, and have really went to the next level with their business. And we're looking at things like that, but it's really about just being ready for anything, right? I mean, what happens if they let us loose and the numbers spike again, right? And they lock us back up. And I've heard that, right? We got to plan for that. I've heard that, oh, once they let us loose, we're going to be fine, right? Or, it's like, there's stuff all across the board that we're just kind of like, all right, we're playing scenarios all day and being ready for any situation, and just kind of being on our toes right now for what to come, because this has not happened before.
Yeah.
So, and being positive, no matter what situation, there's opportunity. That's also the thing that I am constantly telling our team is, no matter what it is, guys, there's opportunity. We just got to be ready for it. So, and we talk about that constantly.
Never waste a good crisis. I can't.
Right.
Right. And so I love what you're talking about, because I think every company in the world is experiencing just rewriting the playbook. There's no playbook for this, and everybody's rewriting different scenarios, and it's forcing companies to be innovative in every element of their business and brainstorm in so many evolving ways. I'm curious about this, Simon. My family and I, we live in Huntington Woods, and we're not moving, but we sit around thinking, God, we sure wish we had a pool, a tennis court, this like fantasy. I wonder how many people are thinking, wow, now that a pandemic is even possible, I want to upgrade my thoughts of what I want in my house if I am stuck in my house for a couple months. Are you seeing that at all?
It's a great question. I'm seeing it with my personal home. My wife and I have been home for 2 months. We redesigned my whole home. We've added things to it. And I always thought, my attitude for the last couple of years was, when I come across that right house, I'm going to upgrade and move into that bigger home and raise my family in that bigger home. But the last 2 months, we've been really thinking, you know what, we live in a really nice home. If we did these, and it would work for us if we did these couple of things. And I think that a couple of things, with this question is renovations. I think renovations are going to go through the roof. I think you're going to get a lot of people. Homes now are more important than ever, which is great for our industry, right? Yeah. I mean, you really do. A home is important now. You could get stuck in your home for 2-3 months, right? You could get stuck in your home for a year. You don't want to be in a 1,200 square foot anymore with 2 kids because you're at work 40, 50 hours a week. Now you're working from home. You need to go to 1,800 square feet, or you are an older couple and your kids are out of the house, and it's a 5,000 square foot house that you're looking at, like saying, wow, we only lived in 2 rooms for the last 2 months. We really should, get rid of this thing and downsize into something that makes sense and go to Florida, 4 or 5 months out of the year. And, this virus has really, the home has now become a very, very, very important place for families, which is, we service families and people in homes. So, it's a great point. We've been talking about it, but renovations, I think, are going to be huge. They already are. I see these guys are busy right out of the gates. Yeah. All of our contacts who we do business with or refer to are all slammed, starting to do things. designers, architects. I mean, I think they're going to be busy for renovations. So, it's a great question.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of crazy, home offices now. Nobody really talked about home office before. Now it's like, I need a space. I need an extra bedroom for a home office, or an actual space, or a finished basement so my kids can go down there while I'm working, or whatever. We have had a lot of those conversations.
Yeah. And even this is off the home buying market, but even in the office market, a lot of people have said, office space is actually going to decrease, but there's a lot of experts saying it's actually going to go through the roof, because office layouts are now going to be different to include social distancing if needed. Let me ask you a question, Simon. You as agents, you're the quarterback for an entire transaction. And so you are master facilitators of not only working with the sellers, sometimes the buyer's agent. Sometimes you are the buyer's agent, the title company, the lender, right? So you're facilitating all of these. And so how are you doing that in today's world, making sure that everything is still getting done while people are working remotely, and that everybody is socially safe?
What's neat about our business is whether we work from home or work from the office, it's all done from our computers and our cell phones and our tablets, right? I mean, an office was really a place to go. Our office, and every time I've been at any other brokerage, it's really a place to go to get away, to be on your computer. Yeah. I never had, the last 5, 6 years, 7 years, actually, since I hired Rena, I was very archaic, but I didn't have files. It's all on my computer. So you walk in your office, you open up your computer, and you work. You're emailing title companies, you're emailing mortgage companies, you're on the phone all day, and it was really just a place for us to go, get away, get some, be in an atmosphere that, other people are doing what you're doing, and it's an energy thing, right? So really that hasn't changed. And what the last 2 months have told us is we really don't need to be at an office. I mean, we're learning that our staff, we have agents and staff, our staff is super productive at home. Mm-hmm. Like I used to think we need all this space for our staff. Now I do think the agents need to be here. And I like that because they feed off each other. We can see when they're having a hard day, a good day. When we hear them say something on the phone, I wouldn't have said it that way. That's cool how you said it. Or, hey, instead of saying this, you should say that. And, or you got a listing coming up where, tell me about it. Like that energy, you can't, you do more business when you're around the agents, but staff, I mean, they really get a lot done from home. But as far as title, mortgage, and quarterbacking all of these different, moving parts, it's the same thing. It's business as usual. I mean, it's all done over email, phone, and text messages. And nope, if you have Wi-Fi, I mean, we have agents sitting in Florida for 2 months that have had their best months. It's absolutely amazing, who have closed lots of deals sitting in Florida. And, it's kind of cool. I mean, the showings make it difficult being in other places, but as far as once the showing is done, you can be anywhere, and that's always been the case, at least for the last 3 to 5 years, with the way that these systems and processes have been working. Yeah, it's great. I love that. I want to talk about your agents and your staff, how as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you've been on the podcast a couple of times, and I love the idea of just the way you've built DOBI, the way you market DOBI. You've taken and just reinvented the model with your hospitality background, and so you have a creative lens in the way that you look at things, and so how are you leading your team and your agents and your staff back into work? So now that this is coming, getting back to work, how are we transitioning back in? Right, because I know I had you on the show a couple weeks ago where we were kind of in COVID, and now we're kind of coming out of it. And I think that's, people, how are you getting them back and in the zone? It's definitely a phased approach. Our office is an open floor plan concept, which was really cool for a long time, and it still is. But, these individual office spaces now are something that might be more useful for the next year, because, we were always against it because it just didn't, collaboration and getting to know each other. And it was very hard, when you're in the office all day and you have all these individual offices that nobody's in, and you have all this square footage. Let's condense it. I mean, that's always been, our thing, and it still is. But, we have this open floor plan concept. So when they said, we didn't know when they were going to let us go, if they were going to let us go on the 7th, the 15th, the 28th, we heard all the different times. So what we started talking about right around like the end of April, mid-April, was, all right, when we got to come up with when we are allowed to go back to work, we need to come up with an execution plan. And what does that look like? So phase one is really about like getting back in the office. We're getting, we're setting up stations. So now people can work in their stations. Because why do you want to, come in an office with a mask and glove on and go to work? Like, you might as well stay home, right? Like, why you're going to come in here and wear a mask and wear your gloves and be on your computer all day, and you're on the phone doing this, lifting your I mean, it's like, let's really think about this here. So we need to create stations, which we're currently doing. But then the people that, we buy the plexiglass from and all the supplies funds weren't open and we're back ordered. So when we started learning all this, we said, we got to phase this out. Phase one, we're all staying home and we're servicing these agents while they're out and about showing. So guys, phase one is we're going to stay home and work. And these agents are going to go out, sell homes, and agents, this is how we're going to do it. It's business as usual. You email Joe. Joe's still available, but he's sitting at home instead of the office, right? You need a sign, you need a lockbox, you need these things. So that's phase one. Now, phase two is really starting to figure out a plan, which we're going to hopefully execute June 1, where we have X amount of stations. You can book those stations for the day. You can come in, work at those stations. They're your stations for the day. When you leave, they're wiped down, they're cleaned, limited hours a little bit. That's phase two. Yeah. And hopefully phase three is we're getting back into this thing by, who knows when, end of the year, beginning of next. I don't know, but it's really a phase plan.
Yeah, I love that. It's I do want to talk a little bit about because last time I had you on the show, I had a lot of people reach out to me and talk about hey, what Simon talked about from a marketing perspective is brilliant. What they've done, how they've done it, and so marketing through COVID, post COVID. The sensitivity that you all had, you did some amazing posts honoring the frontline workers, and really clever. What does marketing look like for DOBI? Now that we're back to work, people are, you're in a phased approach, and just getting people to, engage.
Marketing is always growing. I mean, as long as we're growing, marketing is always going to be growing. And every day there's different things that we come up with, different ideas, and our marketing team is really great with that. So, Alicia is somebody that is our marketing director. She is very creative and on top of it, and her team with, Ben, Liz, and Chapin are constantly meeting and thinking of cool new ideas that are different. So how does it evolve? I mean, I think, we're constantly like, hey, we need to educate. We need to have fun. At the end of the day, we need to have fun. We can't, real estate, and one of our strong suits is just kind of making real estate look fun, because it is. We're not acting. We are who we are. And any place I've ever been before this, we were always great people, great brokerages. The people were always really, really great, but it wasn't fun. Closings felt like you were going to the doctor's office. I mean, it was like, so our thing is like, we're very good at what we do. We train our agents. We are very determined. We are the best agents you can hire for you, but we also have fun while doing it. And try to be professional and fun at the same time. And as we grow, we need to keep that. We need to always show that. We can't turn into, a very cookie cutter. This is what we do. And it's a big reason we don't post houses all day. We sell homes. Right. You have agents, which is fine. It works for them, but they're just posting houses all day. And it's like, guys, we sell homes, but like when you work with an agent, it's really about, we might work together for 90 days to a year. Right. we really got to like each other. We really got to get to know each other. So in our marketing efforts, that's what we're trying to do all the time, is show who we are and then let the clients decide if they want to work with us or not. And it's been working. I mean, we're real people, and we talk late night on the phones, like our like to talk about issues or challenges, personal things outside of buying a house pop up because it's their personal properties, or husbands and wives aren't getting along, or they are getting along, or there's an issue with a child or a challenge with a child, and they come to us. And I truly believe, when we, our marketing efforts, it's like, we're real people. But we're really good at what we do. And that's kind of what we try to do as we grow this thing, and as we get bigger and bigger, we need to always keep that. And Alicia's team and the marketing team are constantly talking about that. And to be honest with you, you should do a podcast with Alicia, because she has a ton to talk about with marketing. And me and Michael, our COO, were talking about this yesterday. What's great about our marketing department is she's on it. Like, she comes to us, it's like, I'm doing this, this, and this. It's like, sweet. Right now, we've had our opinions, like, hey, what do you think about this, this, and this? And it's like, she notes it, and then they take it to another level. But with the right people in the right seats, it's being done. And a lot of those details she can answer, but it's really just, that's the core point of it, is like, we're realtors, we're having a lot of fun selling homes. And, we're human beings. We can be, but you hire us because we're going to build a great relationship over the next couple of years, and you need to put that into your marketing.
I love it. I will have Alicia on the show. Thanks for suggesting that. All right, Simon, you're doing great things. I'm happy that you guys are active and busy. And now that the market has been open a week, this has been a great review of just not only you and your business, but the industry. Last couple questions as we finish up. Biggest lesson you learned while at home during our stay at home?
Biggest lesson I'd learned, that my wife and I we're very strong. I think my biggest lesson is, I really am able, and I've said this on the last one, and I don't want to sound cheesy or corny, because I'm not that way, anybody who really knows me, but these last 2 months sitting at home and raising 2-year-old twins, and my wife has a career, I have a career, and really managing that, and, the stress of not knowing the future, the amount of fun we had, in keeping the house clean and the things that we value at home going. The biggest lesson is really that, my family and I, as long as, there's really nothing we can't do. And it was really, really cool to see, because my wife and I, we had a blast. We really did. And our kids, we had a blast. And I could see how a lot of people, if they don't have that dynamic, these last 2 months would have been very, very stressful. And I always knew it. But this, when we were before kids, it was easy. Right now, kids and all this stuff going on, the virus business, not knowing. We handled it great, and we communicated great, and it really was it was really cool to see.
Great, yeah. I feel the same way about my wife, my kids. My kids are 14 and 17, so a little bit different. They sleep till about 2 or 3, so they're up a little. But it's been a blast. Simon, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
You guys can, email Simon at wearedobi.com, and you can call 248-840-7722 or text message that number. Pretty much always available.
All right, good. Simon, thanks for being on. I appreciate it. I wanted to share what was going on in real time, and you always bring great content, great information. So thanks very much for not only your time, but everything that you're doing. And I appreciate you. Thanks very much for being on the show.
John, I know you have a birthday Friday, right?
Oh, yeah, tomorrow, yeah.
You might want to put your address up on there. We can all do a drive-by and come see you and honk the horn. So happy birthday this week, and enjoy it and have fun. And we always appreciate you and doing these podcasts. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, Simon, have a great one. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.